Welcome back to 5 Minutes to a Better Mix, where we're looking at 31 mixing tips in 31 days. Thank you for joining in the month of mixing mayhem. Did you like that? Okay, maybe I'm losing my mind, but here we are with another tip. I want to show you a quick way, additionally to yesterday's video, to fatten up your snare drum. So if you caught yesterday's video, we were using an EQ to round out the tone, fatten up the snare drum tone. And I think we took a snare drum a good step in the right direction. One other tool you can use to, again, increase the apparent fatness, if you want to use a descriptive term, of the snare drum is a simple compressor. And it's really cool because what we're going to do is just some manipulation of the audio wave. If I zoom in here on this wave in particular, this is a snare drum hit. And what I'm going to use a compressor to do for all you visual learners is use a fast attack to catch that peak and just turn the peak down. You know, the threshold should be set that it won't really catch anything after that. So the compressor is really only turning down the peak. And once it turns down the peak, it makes the peak a lot similar to the volume level of, you know, the sort of the tone or the ring of the snare drum right after it. Well, what is that going to do? Well, not much until we do the final step, which is turn up the makeup gain, which is going to turn everything back up to where it was. Which in essence means all we will have done is turned up this, the sustain of the snare drum, to be a little bit closer in volume to that initial transient. And what that'll do for our ears is make us perceive the tone of the snare drum as fatter and as loud as the initial crack. And so it can make a snare drum which may sound fine, but small and choked and quick, to sounding longer, more drawn out, a little fatter. Okay, that's what we're going for. So what I've got is a compressor. And remember, here's our snare drum as it is right now. And I have a compressor, and I'm going to kick it on and then show you the settings. Off. On. Okay, slightly subtle, but here's what's going on here. If you notice that there's more tone when the compressor is on. I have a fast attack, a relatively slow release here, a 7-to-1 ratio, so pretty heavy compression. And the threshold set here that it's going to, anything above this point, mostly the transient, is going to get compressed, right? And when it's compressing it, I've squozen it down maybe 3 dB or so. So I've done some makeup gain here to turn up the ring of the snare as well. Hear how those hits are just kind of, you hear the hit and then it's done. But with a compressor, a little bit more tone, okay? A subtle thing, but there's more tone, less just hit. And that's going to help the snare drum sound fatter overall. So what we've done is used an EQ yesterday and a compressor to take a snare drum that sounded like this to this. This. To this. So taking these two videos together, you can see what we're doing with EQ and compression. We're not making the track louder, we're just changing the way it sounds through tonal frequencies and then some dynamic processing. I hope these two videos help you as you're working with your drum tracks. And this is applicable to kick drums, this is applicable to other things as well. But especially transient, heavy, snares, toms. Use tonal shaping, things like an EQ, and then use a compressor to, again, affect the apparent loudness of the tail of the snare compared to the initial hit of the snare. And two subtle moves, which you might think are slightly improving it, when combined together, make a drastic improvement. In my mind, it can really help sculpt the sound of your snare drum to be a little more professional and a little more fat, which is the goal, it seems, all the time. Hope that helps. Again, this is Graham at therecordingrevolution.com. Stick around for more videos throughout the rest of the month. Thanks for watching. Take care.